jumping right into it. We back, baby. We back. We back. When the ball stops bouncing, we back. We got Kojo here with us. We got Kojo, the track and field aficionado, studied
Chill.
electrical engineering. Some of the accomplishments y'all might think is light, but I mean, this is just what he did, man. 4x100 record at NJIT, Fordham Classic, placed first in triple jump, first in triple jump at the FDU Classic, broke the NJIT long jump record, tied triple jump record at the Shiver International, FDU patch first in triple jump. And of
Mm,
course, you had to bring it home. Senior day from Brick City, Senior Day to Brick City
yeah,
Classic broke the invitational record. We got Kojo
yeah.
here with us, man. Kojo, what's good? How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing, man. I'm feeling amazing. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Glad to have you, man. I know you got your apple juice going, man. Let's have some fun. When the ball stops bouncing, when the ball stops bouncing, man, let's talk about it. When the
Oh
ball stops
man.
bouncing, man. So we want to just use this platform to really just tell your story, right? We know that, man. Man, I remember seeing you. You guys always going hard. I'm like, man, what are they doing? What are they doing, man? Why are they
Yeah,
going so hard,
man.
man? Why are they always in the gym, man? So, no, definitely,
It's
really appreciate your time. Really appreciate your time today.
no doubt, man. It was definitely a journey being a student athlete at NJIT. The institution that I attended was one that was very, very unique in the challenges that it presented to students, but extremely unique in the challenges that it presented to student athletes. From facilities to the curriculum, there were
Yep.
definitely a lot of challenges that had to be overcome to be successful in both cases. But with a
So
lot
man,
of
you getting
grit,
right into it. You getting right
yeah,
into it, man.
man,
So man,
yeah,
so
man.
so 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 let's talk about it, man. So like growing up, man, like what sports did you play? How did you even get into sports?
Yeah, so all right, so first off, I was born in West Africa, Ghana, right,
Okay.
my motherland. And when I was growing up, man, I was doing the little kid things, running around, the compound that we used to live at. It was like an apartment complex, multi-family unit, and we would play a lot of soccer outside on some like dirt patches, man. I remember them days, man. Some sandals, man. Little
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
It's crazy. So we started out from there. When we moved to the states, went back to playing soccer again.
How old were you when you moved to the states?
I was 9 years old, and yeah, I was 9 years old, and I turned 10 later on that year in 2004.
So what
So
was that like? All right, so you're over in Ghana, like you said, man. You're living in a pretty decent compound. Now you're coming over to the states. I'm ignorant, man. All I have is America, man. That's all I know, man. What was that transition like? Tell me a little bit about it. What was it like?
Oh man, it was very, very different because there was a lot of different cultural things that separated Ghana and America that were difficult for me to traverse. I knew how to speak English. I knew how to speak English well. I didn't carry an accent, so a lot of people just assumed that I was more African American than I was African. So a lot of the cultural dynamics I had to go through, I would say, the hard way for me to understand and overcome a lot of it. But when I came out here, man, when I started playing soccer, I'm like, oh my gosh, this grass or like this turf, like why is this grass fake? But
Right, right.
but like that transition was wonderful, and I fell into playing travel soccer because I went out and played at my elementary school with a bunch of my friends, and they're like, man, you're pretty good. You want to join our team? Went out for a tryout. And they're like, yo, look, we should put you in the age group that we think that you would fit best in. Went out for there, and it was pretty dope. But when you playing as a kid, it's not as structured, on the playground, or whatever. But then when you
Yep,
get on
yep.
the team, it's a lot more structured. So I had to I had to find a way to get into that mode. So that took me a while, but I
So you
figured it
came
out.
over, you playing soccer. You're like, all right, cool, make some friends. I'm already good at soccer. You guys know this, right? You guys have said it, not me, right? It's not me. You guys have said it. You guys said, man, look, you should be playing soccer. But what was the academics like, right? I mean, is there an academic difference from Ghana over to America?
In terms of the curriculum, the qualities are different. I would definitely say that the quality is different, and also it's not the case anymore now. But the culture of education is different. Like you got beat,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
bro,
Oh, so
yeah,
that's the
bro.
thing. So
That
the
was
movies
the
we're watching,
thing.
they're being depicted properly, is what you're saying.
When you was getting caned for missing class, or you was talking, or like, bro, I'm not
Sheesh.
even kidding you. Like when you was late, you
Yeah.
got caned in front of everybody because we had an assembly. That means all the kids, and this is grade
Yeah.
school, mind you. I'm like third grade, fourth grade.
Right, right. So
All the
you're not
kids
even late on
standing in the
purpose.
front.
Your parents made you late. You didn't make you late. It's third grade. How could you make yourself late?
Bro, your parents ain't dropping you off.
Huh? You're in
Yeah.
third grade. How you getting to school then?
You find you taking the bus, you taking the taxi, you walking. Yeah,
Got it.
man, the motherland is different, man. You see little
Okay.
kids running around, no supervision, man. So
So that's
I
a real
remember,
thing. So how far are you traveling? Like you said, bus, taxi, walking. How far? Like what's the difference? So I'm third grade. Well, how old are you? 8 years old, man. I gotta find my way to
yeah,
school.
yeah. So man, I can't say that I fully remember or can comprehend the distance because I'm in third grade.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah,
thinking,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
I'm been on this bus for forever. But it was a while for me to get to school. And when I was living with my parents, um, it wasn't that long, and I could actually walk to school and walk back. But
Got
when
it.
I moved to live with my uncle for the year when my parents were in the states, it was a longer distance. So that
Okay.
one was like, yeah,
Yeah.
you was out there for a hot minute. And then yeah, so like when it came to that, man, that type of schooling that we had, that was what it was. Like, it was very, very strict. You can't be talking, like you can't talk back to the teacher. He had all power to put his hands on you.
Sheesh. That's a different
Yeah,
culture. Yeah, that's a different
that's so
culture.
cool.
Because
So when
over
I
here we
came,
slap teachers. Yeah, we slap teachers over
yeah,
here.
bro, when I came here and I heard somebody talking in the middle of class, I was shook. I was,
Class
man, yo,
clown. You got a class clown and all that, right?
bro, teacher was over here like my teacher, Miss Krem, wonderful lady. She was in the front, fourth grade. She talking. She giving a description of something, and then one of my classmates starts talking. I'm like, yo, be quiet, be quiet. She's like, why? And I'm like, yo, they might, you're gonna get in trouble. You're like, I'm not gonna get in trouble. And then they raise their hand, Miss Krem, am I gonna get in trouble for talking? They're like, yeah, if you keep interrupting my class, you get sent to the principal's office. I'm thinking the principal gonna be the one that's gonna whoop you. Nah,
Right, 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 right. Because somebody getting whooped, right? We notice how this works.
that's what I thought. But when I came in, man, it was completely different. So I had to learn that transition.
Nah, that's smooth, man. That's smooth. So okay, so you transition, you came over, man. You're looking at the cultural differences. Academically, you're still thriving, no problems there. But now we're still playing soccer, right? So
Yeah,
was soccer your sport of choice growing up?
big time, big time. Because in West Africa is the most popular sport. You know, Ghana just was in the World Cup this year. We did well. We played better than what the team put together was expected to do. But we wanted them to go even further, but they got eliminated.
Always.
But soccer is the biggest sport out there, man. You see people playing everywhere you go, everywhere you go.
So when do you pivot? So how do you go from soccer into track and field? Like when do you pivot?
Yeah. So when I was, this is an interesting story. My older brother, when he came here, he was in high school. So when he came here, he transferred immediately to high school, but his transition was a little bit different. High school back in Ghana is a boarding school where is a singular gender boarding school, right? So all boys, all girls, and you would basically like go to school, stay there all day, deal with life with a whole bunch of other young men. And then when I told you about, you getting hit by the teachers,
Yeah.
now your classmates are the one that be like hazing you and beat. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I mean, you're old
It's
enough to
crazy.
fight back in high school, man. We can figure that one out.
Oh yeah, nah, trust me, they was scrapping. They was
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
scrapping. So when my brother came out here, he had his transition, but he ran track after the season of playing soccer because he just wanted to be active. Like he was like, look, I played soccer, but I'm bored. And he was one of the fastest guys on the field when we were playing soccer. So the track coach was like, yo, why don't you join track?
Right,
So he
right.
was doing that. And if you ever see my brother and you see me, you're going to be like, yeah, y'all definitely brothers because we look alike. So I will always follow every single thing that he did. So when he was running track and he'll come home, like, what is it like? And he's like, oh, no, you just run really fast in one direction. I'm like, I don't have to chase a ball? They're like, yeah. I tried out in middle school. They're like, yeah, man, hey, look, you're not really fast in long distance, but hey, why don't you just see what else you can do? And from middle school, I started doing that. I really started to enjoy the process of it. and that's gonna repeat itself throughout our conversation. But the
Yeah.
process that track brings to me, I felt like it was something that I had to my own.
Okay.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
being a kid of like three siblings, you don't really share a lot. Like you don't really have something of your own. You share a lot of
Oh, yeah,
things,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. I had my brother's hand me downs like crazy.
Yeah.
So,
That's how
so
it
you
goes,
know,
though. Yeah, yeah.
bruh, it was bad. But you know, when you don't have anything of your own, when you figure out something that is of your own, you kind of just gravitate towards it because you feel like it's your own art project.
Yep.
That's how I fell into track, and it started to become something that I just kept on doing. And when I got to college, I had to choose a crossroads. The level of soccer that is at college versus my skill set level, because I wasn't
Yep.
honing it on the off season, because I would run track, play soccer, run track, play soccer. If
Yep.
I honed my skills in high school in the off season, I would have been able to play at the collegiate level, but I didn't. I was running track. But since you have 2 seasons of track, I honed my skills in track a lot more than I did in soccer. When I got to college, I just pivoted toward track.
So it sounds like you knew that you were going to play in college. Like it didn't really seem like a question, right? It seemed like you
Yeah.
knew, look, hey, I'm going to be a college athlete or a student athlete, and being a student athlete, I'm going to have options, right? So walk me through that. So you're like, okay, cool. You get into your senior year in high school. You know that you now have to make a decision because in high school we all play, we play as many sports as we want, right? But in
Yeah.
college you have to really niche down, and I think niche is something that we're going to be able to get into when we get to the professional world. But you had to niche down. You had to decide, look, I have to choose a sport and I have to choose a college. Can you just tell me a little bit about that process?
Yeah. So when I was applying to a lot of the different institutions, um, college athletics was definitely on the radar. In the state of New Jersey, I recognized that I can get a lot more funding if I was to stay in state, with EOP and a lot of different things. In addition to that, I also reached out to a lot of the teams. That's that process that a lot of people really do not understand. That
Mm-hmm.
if you're not highly recruited, you also got to do your own due diligence and work through getting onto the teams. When I got accepted to NJIT, I recognized that I had to consider two things when it came to being a student athlete: the student and then the athlete part.
Okay.
Recognizing that the institution would put me in a much better position beyond my years of college, I realized that this was the best institution for me to go to. You know, I would be able to receive my degree. It's highly respected, especially in the world of engineering in the state of New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I can pursue whatever I wanted to do. But also the flexibility that at the time the athletic department in the program was, it would allow me to kind of pay my own way. You know,
Mm-hmm.
as you remember from your time at NJIT, um, it wasn't as rigid and as established as it was now. It was still
Yep.
growing in its Division One establishment. So
Yep.
knowing that, I also wanted to be a part of just building something. My freshman year, I had to sit out and then walk onto the team my
Mm-hmm.
sophomore year. That's how that whole process started with me.
Got it. So you're talking about grit right now, right? So you said a couple of different things. You said, hey, look, I'm a kid. I live in New Jersey. I'm looking at some different ways and some different opportunities that I want to pursue in college. I'm going to make a short list. Now, when you're making that short list, what's that criteria look like for you? I know you said that there's a student side and there's an athlete side, but as far as criteria, what criteria did you have? I know you said, okay, look, NJIT has a good engineering program, but was there any other criteria?
Yeah, size. I didn't want to be in a school where it's like 10, no, I say I can't even say 10, 20, 50,000 people
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have that connectivity with the student body for you to understand like, hey, everybody has the same experiences. I also didn't want to be in a school where I had to take a bus just to get to the next building. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy to me. I can understand Rutgers, y'all got that. Hey, good for
Yeah.
you. But I'm good off of that, man. I
Yeah.
was I like being able to wake up in Laurel and then walk to class within 5 minutes. So
Yep.
that was definitely something that drew me in, and
No,
also
that's fair.
like the proximity to my family because
Mm-hmm.
my parents are older, so I always wanted to be able to, hey, look, anything going on, I gotta get back to the crib and
Yep.
make sure that they're good.
Arms reach away. No, that makes sense. And then when you think about the transition, so you talk about being a walk on, right? Like a lot of people. First off, can you just tell people what a walk on is, right? If I'm not familiar with sports, what is a walk on? And then what was that? What did it feel like to be a walk on? Did you still feel like you were a part of the team? Did you feel like you had to really grind and earn a little bit more than the other guys, or did you just feel like you were better than everyone?
I am very confident, but I'm not cocky. So a walk on is basically somebody who tries out for the team. You're not formally recruited, nor did you sign a letter of intent with the NCAA for you to attend this school. So therefore, you're added to the roster as someone who really was not recruited through traditional means. Walk on also, you can be a preferred walk on. That's basketball, football. Like a lot of y'all got that, but that's when you've basically been promised by the coach that, hey, look, you have a spot on the team. For me, I had to show up and do the test. They had to see my speed. They had to see my skill set. Everything else. When I came in, my focus was on jumps because in high school, that was what I enjoyed. And a lot of y'all can't see, but I'm only about 5'6", 5'7", not that tall.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when it
yeah.
comes to when it comes to jumps, and if you actually look at the mechanics of everything, having a taller frame actually gives you a massive advantage. But when I came in, very much so. When I came in and I was still competing with people that are like 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", I'm like, yeah, man, I got this.
It's me. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm not shy from putting on a fight, but I'm not somebody that wants to get into any kind of like altercation, none of that. But whenever I want something, I'm gonna go for it. So
Absolutely.
from there, like when I got into the program and I was working through it, I was like, yeah, you know what, man, I could run with these guys. And then when I also looked beyond our conference and also the track meets and everything, I was like, oh, definitely, I could run
Yeah,
with everybody.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Once you saw what was out there, you said, "Okay, that's it." Oh, it's like high school. I used to meet you in high
Yeah.
school. I already dealt with you. You know me. You know
Oh
me.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, I love that. I love that. So now you transition. You were on a walk. You were a walk on. Went to these different meets. You say, "Look, I'm here. You guys see me. Look, hey, look. You guys know who you're gonna have to compete against in order to win because I break records, right? I've shown that throughout my career. I break records. I'm going to keep breaking records. So now let's start to pivot a little bit. Let's start to think about post college, right? So you come
Mhm.
in, you were a walk on, you had a really successful career, you broke a lot of records. But before we even get to post college, how did you set yourself up for post college? Being a student athlete, understanding that you're being pulled as a student, you're being pulled as an athlete, you're trying to figure out what your future is. Unless maybe I don't know. Did you plan on going to the Olympics? I don't want to assume. Did you plan on going to the Olympics?
Oh man, so I saw the standards of the Olympics, and then I saw my workload, and I said one of them gonna have to give. And unfortunately, the Olympic standards had to give because it's about 2, 3 meters ahead of me, and the training regimen and as well as the lifestyle that I was living really was not preparing me for that at all. So me foreseeing that, I said, well, okay, I can make an impact on the program that I'm in right now, set the standards, and then transition into something else.
Yeah.
So at that time, I said, you know what, man, post college, what do I want to do? Being somebody that had entered into the field of electrical engineering, I wanted to be in the power industry. So if you remember NESB,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the National Society of Black Engineers, I went to a conference, and I also went to another conference called Black Engineer of the Year Award.
Wow.
It's a massive conference,
Yeah.
whole bunch of different schools, whole bunch of black engineers all in one room competing for jobs,
Wow.
networking, and maybe a little something else. But we're gonna keep
Yeah,
PG for this conversation.
yeah.
Yeah, all I gotta say is DC is a wonderful city. But but from those experiences, I was able to gain that interview skills and the skill set to interview for a job that brought me down to Georgia, South Georgia. Started working. I'm like, yo, this is dope. Like what I'm doing is very interesting. And somebody
So let's
who is
break
an
that down.
electrical
What are you
engineer.
doing? So for someone that doesn't know what an electrical engineer does, what were you doing, right? What did that look like?
Yeah, so man, I talk a lot, so you gotta interrupt me
Nah, let's get
whenever
into
I'm ranting.
it. Yeah, yeah.
So when it came to my particular job as an electrical engineer, you can be somebody that does so many different things. But your main thing is you want to solve a problem in the most efficient way. And what I do is I work with power systems to maintain the integrity of the grid.
Okay.
So in the state of Georgia, my previous company, what I was working on was there's a lot of protection that we have, and it's not like, hey, look, security codes and gates and stuff like that. It's more like when the power goes out, you want it to turn back on as quickly as possible.
Right.
Yeah, so we work with the machines that either cut the power out so that if we have a big problem, if we cut the power back on, it's not going to persist. Or if we have a minor issue where a tree just fell and it just burnt up, we can cut the power back on. All right, cool. This can do it automatically. That was what my job with the previous company was.
Got
The
it.
new company that I'm in, we consult with the same utilities, but we solve the same problems in a different way. I'm not as hands on anymore.
Right, right, right. You're telling people how to get to the end goal instead of
Pretty
actually
much.
having to instead of actually having to get them there. No, that's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. So you come out of college, you're like, okay, cool. I got this degree, electrical engineering. These guys have brought me down to South Georgia, right, because of my studies, right? Because you chose right early to allow you to choose right later. So now you use your studies. Now let's talk about a little bit more now. So did you ever venture outside of electrical engineering? What are your interests outside of just electrical engineering?
Yeah, this is where we connect, man. Real estate. So
Okay.
my first internship was in 2016. Before I graduated in 2017, I was down in South Georgia, and I'm a very inquisitive person, man. I'm like, yo, man, like the people down here, how do y'all live your lives? Like, what do you do? What are some of the things that you're interested in? And they put me on game to the max. I was
Okay.
astonished
Let's talk
about
about it.
the information that they had was crazy. A lot of them kept on reiterating to me, look, there's nothing more important in owning as a man other than land. And I was
Yeah.
like, why? And I'm from Jersey, bro. Like, man,
Right.
you
Right.
get your
Right.
one crib and you chilling. Like,
That's
you don't
it.
want
That's all you
nothing
got. Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Exactly. But over there, they're like, nah, I want my land. I want to be at least an acre away from the other person just so that I can have my space. And then when I was living in it, I saw why. The open pasture, the calmness, everything else. It really drew to me. I was also reading a book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, at the time,
Yep.
and Robert Kiyosaki was going into detail about the importance of just ownership. From there, I asked a lot of different questions, and somebody was like, "Yo, look, if you really want to understand the game, own real estate." I talked to one of my coworkers, the dude that's teaching me everything that I know. My man's he had an electrical like wiring company up in Alabama,
Okay.
right? He was a limited partner at the time. He also had acres of land, acres of land with
Right.
pine trees on
Right.
them, bro. I'm like, bro, we in the same job. He's like, yeah, but
Yeah.
I got acres of land with pine trees on them, right? And I got my own land with my house sitting on it, right? It's partitioned. The land with the pine trees, a few contract companies will come harvest all the pine straws or whatever for decorating people's lawns.
Yeah.
That's bread right there.
Okay.
Whenever the trees mature to a certain height, they get them cut down
Yep.
and sold. That's bread right there. And
Okay.
the value of the land is also something that if a developer wants to come down and if they want to buy, that's bread right there.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
you go. He said you can put your money into a savings account. It's gonna stay there. That's fine. But you
Yeah.
can put your money in land because guess what? They ain't making any more of those.
They ain't making any more of it. So hold on. So what you're saying is you can have a job, but you can still invest. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Because so
Exactly.
much of the propaganda that we hear today is you need to stop plan A to execute plan B and make plan B plan A, right? So I like where you're going with this because you're walking people through. Don't quit your day job, right? Do what you
No.
do well because what you do well is paving the way for you to do some of the other passions that you have. But some of this stuff takes money and your hobby can actually cost you a lot. So it may
Big
make sense
time.
to keep some of the things that you're skillful in as you grow your skill and you collaborate with others that are doing some of the other things that you plan on doing in the future.
Yeah. And I had mentioned before process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to make this key in there because the process of me getting here is number one, stay inquisitive, and number one, always have like a forward view of the world. Like you have to keep what you want in front of you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
As I was transitioning from, focusing on being an athlete to post college,
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a lot of different people about what does it take to be, a solid engineer. My
Yeah.
sophomore, junior year, I was making those questions come up, and I was getting the feedback from peers that had already graduated and were giving me those pointers. They were like, "Yo, go to NSB, go to this, go to that." Cool. Once I had the job secured, I'm like, okay, cool. Now I want to make that transition into becoming an investor. And you ask those questions. So any single time before you make your next step, ask as many questions, get as much information, and then when you take that step and then you're in it, ask the same amount of questions as well. You don't have to finish one to transition to the other. You can
I
start
love it.
working on the first one while you still finishing what you got going on. That's that process, man.
So you said something. You said a couple of things. You said you're inquisitive, right? And you talk about process, right? But in being inquisitive, and as you go through your process, what's your process look like in order to find people that you trust?
Man, that has been emotionally as a man, that has been the toughest part.
Yeah.
That has been the toughest part because um, my culture is very like open and caring and loving. So I always combined it whenever I was looking to find people to trust. It's like, hey, look, I'm very open. That's just how my culture is. I'm gonna let you in, whatever it is, but I'm gonna let you into my space.
Yep.
But I found out there were some people that just were not in my corner, right? They just wanted to be in the section with me. So understanding that, I had to figure out, okay, number one, whatever process that I'm going to through, whatever is public, you can talk about it. But whatever is private, keep that to yourself.
That's right.
Whenever you want to find people that you want to work with, all right, cool. Let your intentions be known from the jump.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong
And
with that.
there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. And it's a win-win. You always
Yep.
got to think win-win with the entire process, no matter who it is. It could be a romantic relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be a business relationship, no matter what it is, figure out your win-win and work towards that. And if there's any time in which that veers, y'all gotta have that conversation right then and there.
I agree. I agree.
So I had to go through a lot of those growing pains, man. Romantically, business wise, a whole bunch of other people. I've had to fire people. I've had to cut people out of my life. All of that.
Yep.
But you have those hard conversations, or else man, yo,
I like
I'd
that. I
rather
like where you're
lose,
going with this. Nah, I
man.
like where you're going with this,
I'd rather lose money than lose time and patience, man.
Absolutely. No, I like where you're going with this. And I think that when you talk about some of those hard moments or some of those tough moments, right, how much does sports prepare you for that, right? So you talk about firing
Big
people, you
time.
talk about character judgment, you talked about being a part of teams. How does sports bring that together for you?
Yeah, so from an early age, man, when you're in sports, you recognize that there's some people that just ain't for it at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know the big dogs in your team. Like, all right, hey, you know what? If anything, that guy's gonna do his job no matter what, right? And then some people that you just like, bro, why is he getting in the game?
Every time, every time, every time. You
Yo,
question
you
everything.
like,
Coach
you
everybody
like,
around you.
you be like, bro, like, come on, man, this is
Yeah.
not the time for this person to be in.
Yeah.
But those are those moments, man. Like those are those moments where you really like, all right, you know what? Hey, I gotta still handle what I gotta handle.
That's right.
So being in teams, I recognize that there's going to be like situations in which you cannot control everything. You can only do your job to the fullest. And then also, even if you communicate to your teammates to your absolute best ability, hey, X, Y, Z, this is what needs to be executed.
Yep.
They're gonna do it the best way that they think that they can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can think that their best way is like here, but they think it's here, and then they end up executing here.
That's right. No, you got to
You
receive
know?
that. You got to receive that. No, and that's a big part of playing on sports, man. One thing I'll say is, man, like whenever I used to play sports, I used to always think about different ways and different teammates. So the way that I would break down my schedule or my interaction with my teammates is it's the off season, right? We're working out, right? You may want to work out 2 days a week. You may want to work out Tuesday and Thursday. You may want to work out in the morning, right? I'm working out with you because I'm gonna get your best workout Tuesday, Thursday in the morning, right? My other teammate, he may like to work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the evening. So now I'm gonna get a personal workout with him Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the evening. So now I got 5 workouts coming just this week, and I'm gonna get your best work, and you're gonna compete against me. And those 2 days or those 3 days a week that you could be giving me could be more than you did last year, could be more than you did last week, could be more than you did last, 10 years ago, what have you, right? So what I always try to do is I try to align myself with people like you, people that know, like, hey, look, these are my 2 days, and I'm gonna give you everything I got these 2 days, and it's gonna push me, but I'm also gonna be able to push you, but also being able to build that relationship, build up that opportunity with my teammate will put me, put them, put us in a better position to be able to win, being able to compete, and being able to be better going forward.
Yeah, man, that's how you build chemistry. One of the best ways that me and my best friend, like, he used to live in the same apartment when I first moved to America.
That's fire.
That's how we grew up. Like, I knew that he's a left-footed player, so whenever we was playing soccer, I knew that the best thing to do is always put the ball to his left side.
That's right.
He'll get frustrated with me because sometimes I pass it to the right, but most
Yeah.
people are right-footed. But that's how it was, you know. So building that chemistry is also like, hey, look, like, let's get into this grind together.
That's right.
And I practice that every day, even till this day. And I've switched so many different sports, man. I think I just get crazier and crazier with the sports that I do. Because now I'm in a fighting sport, jiu-jitsu.
Oh wow.
And, bro, yeah, man. If you want to get humbled every
Yeah,
day,
yeah. That's mental toughness. Yeah.
man, listen, bro. Listen, man. You think you tough until you get in that mat.
Yeah.
You can't swing, so you gotta know what to do. And bro, that's a whole different process, man. But for you,
Yeah.
man, I wanted to ask you,
Sure.
what are some of the things that you structured with yourself to build a community that you have consistently, like now? Because you've
Yep.
had to go through your processes of your life.
Yeah, I think a big thing for me is just consistency, right? Consistency and discipline. I think that's like my secret sauce. I think that the more and more that I study, the more and more that I spend time with people that I admire, right? And sometimes you have to look at the things that you admire. The way that my parents brought it to me was my dad said this to me when I was younger. He said, man, look, take my strengths and take your mom's strengths and make them your strengths, right? And I apply those same principles to my life, right? So every single person that I work with or every single person I get to interact with, I try to evaluate their strengths. Not that, their weaknesses or something that I'm going to judge them for, but more so just to understand, hey, what can I learn from this person? Because I think that we can learn from anyone and everyone. So for me, it's discipline and consistency, and that allowed me to be able to cultivate relationships and allowed me to be a follower before I could be a leader.
Man, that's solid, bro. That's
I
solid,
appreciate it, bro.
man. I mean, you've been applying that successfully since I met you back in our time at NJIT. You've been applying that
Yeah.
successfully. I gotta ask you though, man. So
What's up?
recently, you was on that reality show, the one that got away.
That's right.
Right, right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about that experience, man. So everybody knows, those who have watched the show. And real
Yeah.
quick, man, me and somebody that I know very special to me, we was on it, man. When this thing dropped, we was like, yo, we gonna watch this.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep up with it, man. We was talking about it, man.
Yeah.
I remember we both watched the final episode together, and we were like, wow, that's what it came down to. That's what's up. But tell us a little bit more about that experience and how your athletic background kind of like added to that whole experience.
Yeah, I think when you think about that show, there's a lot of anxiety, and I'm not really one that has anxiety or anything, right? But when you really think about walking down or having an opportunity to date someone from your past, right? The whole premise of the show was bringing someone from your past to your future. It was about misconnection. So I had no idea who was coming, when they were coming, or why they were coming, right? So now you come down and you see these different people, and you're like, "Oh, you're really here." Right? So then that becomes unique in its own. That becomes unique in its own. So you go through, man. You want to be fruitful, and again, you just want to see people for who they are. I think that whenever we look in the mirror and we look at who we were 10 years ago, maybe even a year ago, or 5 years ago, right, we're a completely different person. So regardless of the misconnection, regardless of where you guys left off, what's most important is to see where you guys pick things back up at, and what's also important is just to see where you guys can take it. And having that unique experience, I took I was able to bottle up some of those different experiences, whether it's with those people specifically or those experiences as a whole, and being able to bring those experiences back into the real world or my real life. And it really just helped me hone in on a lot of the relationships or a lot of the misconnections that I had in the past.
Yeah, man. Like it was interesting. That's all I was gonna say. If y'all wanna understand what we talking about, man, go watch the show. You know,
I
it goes
appreciate it.
into detail about it, man. And yeah, it was definitely something to watch, man. I'm proud of you, bro. Big time,
No, I appreciate it, bro. That was definitely an out of body experience, for sure. So
man.
it was cool, man. It was cool. So let's wrap it up, man. Let's get into some of the different final thoughts, man. Any final thoughts you want to say? Any way people should or can stay in touch with you?
Yeah, man. So I am on Instagram and Twitter. Um, on Instagram is Banahene Enterprises. My last name Banahene Enterprises, and on Twitter is Banahene underscore ENTPR. It's very difficult to put that whole username
Yeah,
on Twitter, so
I do my best to put it in the show notes, man. I'll make sure that everybody can
appreciate it,
find you, man. So I definitely appreciate it,
appreciate it.
and I appreciate your time, man. I mean, it's been a pleasure growing with you. You've invested in me, not only your time, but you've also invested your capital into me. So I believe that when people trust you with some of their most valuable resources, their time, their money, their energy. The least I can do is reciprocate that and make sure that the world sees how great you are. So I definitely appreciate your
Appreciate
time
it,
today,
man.
man, and looking forward to showing this to a lot of different people. And hopefully you can continue to inspire before we all expire. So definitely appreciate your time, man. Have a great day, bro.
No doubt, man. I got one more thing, if you don't mind me
What's up? No, you good?
saying it. Yeah, so life is really a series of events that, if you actually look at it, is meant to prepare you for the next event. No matter what you go through now, as difficult as it may be, when you look back 10, 15, 20 years, it may not be as grandiose as you may think. So you really got to give yourself a lot of breaks and a lot of time, and you got to recognize that every single moment is going to lead to bigger and better.
Mm.
You're going to hate it right now, but
Yeah,
once you get over it, you're really going to become a lot stronger. So I think people in their 20s got to just calm down a little bit and
yeah.
just, allow the process to take over.
It's so early, man. It's so early in the story. It's so early in the story, man. And you brought this out of me, man. But the fact of the matter and what I'm excited about with this is nothing more than just a checkpoint, right? We'll have the opportunity to come back a year from now and laugh at some of the different goals and some of the different dreams that we were given today. We'll be able to laugh about them and we'll be able to do so much more, dream so much further. But I think that being a former athlete, one thing that we had is we had this audacity, but we had this ability to basically believe that we could, and because we believed that we could, we did. And I think that if there's anything that I want to leave people with is don't stop believing. I think that this cliche saying, or what seems to be a cliche saying, is being passed out today. Um, it says that people aren't supposed to be able to understand your dreams. People, they weren't given your dreams, right? What's given for you, or what the Bible says, it's what God has for you, it is for you, right? So
Amen.
I'm a PK, man. I'm a preacher's kid, man. So I wholeheartedly believe that. One of my favorite scriptures is Matthew 17:20. Which is, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And I truly believe that through this conversation, but every day in life, we wake up with the opportunity to move mountains. And one of the first things I say when I wake up is I say thank you, God, and I show immediate gratitude because I understand that God's not done with me, He's not done with you, and that's why He gave us another day to be able to wake up and go harder and to push His mission, His vision a bit further. So, man, it's been a blessing, man. It's been a pleasure, and I'm really excited about what we can do in the future.
No doubt, bro. Appreciate you, man. This is such an honor, man. For real.
My God, man.